Hello and welcome to Piano Shack with me, Woody. As you may know, I love the stage keyboard category, so I'm excited to try out here Yamaha's latest CK series that offers the sounds that are important to me: organ, Hammond organ, piano, electric piano, and synthesizer sounds, all in the most affordable price ever for a stage keyboard. So let's get this open. Before we open it, just so you know, I didn't buy this myself. This is sent to me on loan by Yamaha, so I can try it out in the comfort of my own home and share some videos with you. I'll send it back in a few weeks or so. So a huge thanks to Yamaha for their support and providing some interesting gear for us to feature here on my channel. Okay, let's do this. I'm sure that you guys are excited as I am. When they agreed to send one over, they didn't specify if they were going to send the 88 or the 61. So the 88, which is the one they sent in this massive box, has the hammer action 88 note sort of piano style keyboard. It's actually the GHS action, which I think is the same as what I have on my P121 keyboard. I'm making a terrible job of these cuts. So I'm quite familiar with the action and it's fine, I like it a lot. On the other hand, the 61 has a synth action, lightweight keyboard. There's also differences in the size, of course, of these and the weight. This is coming in at about 15 kilograms, 30 pounds, whereas the 61 is feather light at just 5 or 6 kilograms. So if you're looking for a really portable option, then maybe the 61 is a good call. That's a little synthesizer you can have on your desktop at home. Just power on and play. I could have used something like that in my apartment, actually. It's even got built-in speakers. So you can just switch it on and start jamming, which I think sounds pretty cool. A lot of times I might be watching a YouTube video and hear an interesting riff that I like, and I want to work out what they're playing. A keyboard like this, or in particular the 61, would be ideal. Just switch it on and learn the riff. Okay, I'm trying to be as snappy as I can here. I know that not everybody likes unboxings. Yeah, okay, let's talk about, we've got the adapter here, which is a wall wart. Actually, during this video, if you don't mind, I can do some comparisons with the CK61 that I borrowed for about 6 months from Yamaha. I absolutely loved that keyboard. I find it truly inspiring and wonderful to play. This you might consider as a more affordable version of the flagship Yamaha YC. I've got some thoughts on that. I'll try and share that later in the video. But anyway, there's the wall wart. On the YC, you would get it's got a built-in power supply with one of those standard 3-prong sort of leads. So that's a difference there anyway. But that's pretty much what you expect on more affordable versions of a flagship synth. Yeah, what we're going to do in this video, just to manage your expectations, is get this one unboxed. I'll share my first impressions. I'll give you a quick tour of the front panel, have a look around the back as well, and just, yeah, share my first impressions of it with you. But this is a video series. If you look closely at the title of the video, it says Part 1. So if you're watching this in a couple of weeks, just click through to Part 2, where you'll hear me playing my favorite presets. So don't get mad at me for not playing it in this video. It's a series. Part 3 will be an exploration of the organ models. Part 4 will be, oh, look at this. Part 4, how many parts have we got to? Part 3 will be an exploration of the pianos. That's part 4. Part 5, the synthesizer sounds. Then we'll do a kind of wrap up. So there's already been dozens of videos about this. It came out about a month ago, I suppose. And I've seen plenty of videos, often featuring Luke, the very nice and talented Yamaha demo guy in the UK. But I haven't really seen anybody dive into this in depth. And most of the videos I've seen anyway have been from the retailers and from Yamaha themselves. So they've tended to be quite one-sided. In my demonstrations and reviews, I like to dig into the pros and the cons, and that's completely okay with Yamaha. They've agreed to that. So I'll try and be very honest with you about my feelings about this. There we go. That's actually surprisingly light for an 88. I think it's 15 kilograms, but maybe I've got stronger in my old age, but doesn't feel very heavy at all. It's even got, we go over here, a nice little handle area, so it's quite easy to hold on to. Yeah, I'll show you the underside in a minute because that's interesting. That's where we can see the loudspeakers. Actually, I can play it for you today, come to think of it. It's got built-in speakers, so we don't even need to take it up to the studio. I can play it down here. Yeah. So yeah, there will be some playing today. That's one of the conveniences of having built-in loudspeakers. I don't need to hook it up to my audio interface and start up the PC to capture the audio. We can play it right away and you can get a feel for the sound of the internal speakers. Sorry, I'm faffing around here. What else do we have? Oh, also unusual in this day and age, we've got a proper printed manual. Wow, haven't seen that for a long time. 3 of them, in fact. Owner's manual. Is this the same thing in a different language? Yeah, thanks for that. Always nice. So I knew going into this that it would be fully plastic, which is the case, absolutely, but it's a nice high quality plastic for sure. And that's a common thing that manufacturers do. They'll take a flagship product and then make it available in a trickle down, more affordable version. And the way they can reduce the costs is by using plastic enclosure, but this is a good one. Some plastics, you know, feel a bit cheap and flimsy and they'll flex and bend. This is absolutely rock solid. So there's no concerns there. I wouldn't be too worried about it being plastic. It's got a nice matte finish to it as well, so it does feel quite classy. I just want to flip it over and see what they've done on the underside. So yeah, that's your typical plastic construction with all of the ridges, just to give it some rigidity, ridges for rigidity. And there's your speakers there as well. I know there's special settings that you can dial in if you're playing it on top of a tabletop or desk like I am now, which adjusts the EQ to give you the best sound. The action feels very familiar. Very nice. There's no aftertouch on this as far as I know, but you don't need it for a stage keyboard that does organ, electric pianos and acoustic pianos. That feels nice, great. I mean, you can't really go wrong with a Yamaha weighted keyboard action. It's the GHS, it's graded, so slightly heavier. Hammer feel towards the bass end of the keyboard and lighter at the top. Yeah, lovely. It's a luxury for me actually to have an 88. I haven't had a weighted 88 note keyboard in the shack here for many years. The last one was probably a Yamaha, the Yamaha CK 88. I think we should talk for a second about where this fits into Yamaha's lineup of keyboards. We've got their flagship Yamaha YC, which is a organ-centric stage keyboard with focus on the organ, although it has excellent pianos, excellent synth sounds as well. That's the keyboard that I owned for 6 months and absolutely loved. That's a flagship keyboard, very pricey. Then we have their CP, which is also a stage keyboard, but more oriented towards piano players. It's got more focus on piano sounds, but it also does synth sounds as well. And that one comes just with weighted actions, I think 73 or 88 as well. I've also demonstrated that on the channel and enjoyed it a lot. But also that's another premium flagship product. So that's your CP and your YC. Then Yamaha have their Reface line of keyboards. These are the smallish, ones with mini keys. There's a YC reface that focuses, of course, on organ sounds, and there's a reface CP with a focus on piano sounds. Now, many people are considering this, the new CK, to be a cut down, more affordable, slightly stripped down, more affordable version of the Yamaha YC and the CP. If you were to merge together the YC and the CP, the flagship products, this is the trickle down product that inherits some of that technology, but in a much more affordable package. This is about half the price of the CP or the YC. It's really great to have that options. But other people I've seen in the comments of other videos have been saying that this is more like a grown-up Yamaha reface. So it's either a cut-down CP-YC or a grown-up reface. I don't know which of those is more correct, but that's something I'd like to dig into over this video series. For example, the organ sound engine that is on the CK is not the same as we get on the flagship YC. It's actually borrowed from the reface, which I think is a bit of a shame. We'll talk about that later. I mean, the reface is not a shabby organ emulation either, but the YC is the best that Yamaha currently offers, but that's not the sound engine for the organ that you get on the CK, sadly. I do think it's an interesting point of discussion and something you should be aware of. So I'll just mention one more thing about this. Yamaha, as you know, probably have their flagship Montage workstation synthesizer. And then a few years later, they released the MoDX that I've featured a lot on this channel. One of the greatest value workstations ever made. But the MoDX was the more affordable version of the Montage. But it did keep the exact same sound engines as the Montage. You could even transfer patches between the two, as far as I know. But they just removed some of the front panel controls, the buttons, and put it into a plastic enclosure. It's a bit of a pity, perhaps, that they didn't do the same thing here with the CK, I think. Having said that, even the reface has a really great organ, and I think at this price point, you're probably not going to find a better combination of stage keyboard that is organ-centric and with the pianos. Haven't shown you around the back yet, but there's a very interesting design element going on here that I'm sure you've seen on the other videos. It actually looks very attractive. The logo type is very nice. It's got a modern retro feel to it that I'm really digging. And this white line around the edge looks really nice. I see we've got a fitting for a keyboard stand as well. Is that included? I didn't notice it in the box. I'll have a quick look. I'm not seeing it. No, I'm not seeing it in the box, so I guess that must be some accessory that you need to purchase separately. Okay, why don't we plug this in and take a listen. Okay, the power adapter is, the wall wart is not too bad in length, about 3 meters by the looks of it. Let's put it to the test, a real world test. Plug it into the outlet here and connect it in. It's actually not long enough. So what I'll do, I'll swivel the keyboard around and then we should be good to go. So recessed there, it's a little bit hard to get to. And there's a strain relief clamp there as well that we can use. Before I power it up, let's take a quick look at the ins and outs. We have stereo outputs. We have stereo inputs there as well, with a gain control. And then we have 2 foot pedal jacks, 1 and 2. Over here we have the speaker on and off switch, so let's put that to on. We have traditional round MIDI jacks. We have USB, MIDI and audio as well. This acts as an audio interface, stereo up and stereo down. And we have a 2 device where you can plug in, looks like a USB stick. That's probably where you do your firmware updates, and if you want to play backing tracks, things like that. I'm imagining you can do it from the USB drive connected there. And that's it. A lot of you want to see the boot times, so let's get a shot of the screen and start this up. I'm betting this is the exact same screen that we get on the YC. Here we go. Whilst it's starting, probably I'm not getting good shot of the screen, but it's already ready to go. So that was just a second, something like that. Yeah, one of the favorite things on the Yamaha YC that I really appreciated was a menu setting where you could switch off the screen entirely. For me, if I'm just sitting down to practice playing piano for 45 minutes, I don't need the screen and the backlight glaring at me. And yeah, that was a really thoughtful feature that I'd like to see on many more instruments as well. Doesn't look quite the same as the YC. But yeah, a nice crisp display, and it's saying CFX Grand, so let's play it. What you can't see is I've got a light shade right in front of my face, so I can't actually see the keyboard really, and it's a bit annoying. But anyway, the volume control here, I don't know anything about this. I've seen a few of the YouTube videos, but I don't know how to operate it. We'll have to save that for a separate video, but let's, yep. I also haven't adjusted the EQ either for the table, but that doesn't seem to be so important right now because you're just hearing it over the lav or the camera mics anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it sounds a bit boxy, as you might expect, but it's not as good as my P121 that has speakers that fire backwards, I think, and downwards, maybe even a little bit upwards as well. This is just shooting down on the desk, so I wanted to find a nice electric piano. Let's try the category button, E piano. This is the first one. It still says CFX Grand on the screen, but it doesn't sound like that to me. Okay, so yeah, I figured it out. The name of the live set is CFX Grand, but we've now loaded a different sound into that live set called 73 Studio Rhodes. I've got it on maximum volume, by the way. It's not very loud, but it's okay for a small living room, even a large one like this. Excuse the playing, I'm standing up with a light shade in my head. Please excuse the playing, I'm standing up, stooped with a lampshade in my face. And I seem to be in a badly played blues mood today. This is why I like to do separate playing videos, because I'm not really able to do it justice. I'd much prefer to get this up into the studio, spend a couple of days with it, and then share some playing demos with you, which is what I'll do. But let's just take a quick listen to the organ, shall we? So yeah, this is a 3-part multi-timbal machine. You can have 3 sounds going on at the same time with some nice convenient mini faders here to adjust the levels of each part, and you can spread those across the keyboard as you wish in various combinations of splits and layers. So that's very nice. Probably the best thing to do at the moment, since I don't know how to do all the splits and layers, is just to scan through the presets, or we can use the category browser and look for an organ. So yeah, another thing perhaps to mention is that you get these live set buttons down here where you can store a combination of all of these 3 parts. And there's 8 of them available on the front panel, and then you can step up and down through different pages to access 8 more, so that's really super. And then you can use the category buttons to load sounds into these live sets. I'm already getting the hang of this. It's a very intuitive control panel indeed. And over on the right, we have effects, cut-off resonance. Nice, so glad to see that on my Nord Electro, which costs twice the price. Let's bring over for a better angle here. They don't give you cut-off and resonance on the synthesizer sounds, which is infuriating, the most important control there is. So really happy to see that here. And then we've got various insert and master effects over here and an EQ over here as well. Reverb I can see there as well. So yeah, I need to tell you as well, I am loving the retro feel of these knobs. Again, this is something that I haven't really appreciated in the other videos. But these are like the knobs, slightly smaller, but you might find on a guitar amplifier. So a really nice retro feel, yeah. The buttons and the knobs feel superb. Got no reservations about saying that. Fine, even these mini faders feel nice. These ones have a, go over a little bit, these ones have a detent in the middle. So, yeah, happy to say, I'm getting a really good vibe from this keyboard. The construction, the fit and finish, the feel of quality, even though it's plastic, is very good. And I know I bang on about this kind of stuff, but this is what they don't tell you on the manufacturer videos or the retailers. They don't go into that kind of detail. And if you're not able yourself to go into the store and try this out, you won't know that. So what I'm trying to share with you in these videos is what you don't see on the promo vids, is what you don't see on the manufacturer's website, what you don't see in the spec sheets, the feel of it. That's the most important thing, I think, to convey in a video. If you want to know about all the features and how to operate them, just go and read the manual, but I'm here to tell you how it feels to play. Anyway, what I was originally trying to do was to demonstrate the organ for you, and now the camera tripod is in the way, so I can't play anything. But here is the organ section. You've got the drawbars. Let's pull up a organ live set, why don't we? Cool. Organ, here we go. So I need to shuffle around here so I can play and demonstrate the organ at the same time. And we will do a deep dive on the organ section. I think it's worthy of it. There's a lot of questions I have in my mind about how the reface organ sounds compared to the flagship YC. Also, what kind of rotary emulations they've put on this, because they did a massive upgrade of the rotary emulation in the firmware of the YC, because people were complaining about the one that originally came on the instrument. I want to know if that rotary emulation is available here, because after they did the upgrade, it sounded absolutely superb. And for the organ purists, that's incredibly important to have a realistic Leslie rotary speaker simulation. Oh gosh, I was trying to make this a quick video, but we're actually digging in a little bit more in depth than what I was planning on doing. But never mind, I'm having fun, and I hope you're enjoying the video too. These faders feel good. This was also controversial to have these mini faders, but I'm the kind of guy that just dials in 888 maximum and then everything off on the upper manual, perhaps pull down this one for some high harmonics. If I'm comping, I like the 3/8 setting, and then I don't mess around with it so much. But this feels fine. I don't think anybody will have any complaints about this. It doesn't, of course, match the feel of the YC with those magnificent long drawbars with the LEDs behind them as well. So it's got your chorus 3 setting. Here's your vibrato chorus section. Great to have that here on the front controls, on the front panel. Off, on. You're probably not hearing the effect of that on the camera. Again, wait for the organ deep dive video that's coming later. Percussion on, off. And here are the settings to adjust that. If you want, short decay, long decay, soft, that kind of thing. Which harmonic it is. That's my typical comp sound. And just so you know, I won't be playing much organ on this. I really dislike the feel of playing organ on a weighted keyboard. Yeah, that's a really important thing to keep in mind if you're choosing between the 61 and the 88. If organ is your weapon of choice, and you love the sound of the Hammond B3, then I wouldn't really recommend playing it on a weighted piano action. It just feels sluggish. It feels like you're playing the organ in treacle. Other noteworthy things that I haven't mentioned before, we do have conventional pitch bend. A small, thin plastic wheel, but it works quite nice. And mod here as well, which also feels good. Wow, that was quite a comprehensive and first impressions video introduction. It seems I had a lot of things to say on this keyboard, but I'd love to hear what you think as well. I know a lot of you will have opinions, and I hope you share those in the comments. Also, since we're doing this as a video series, it gives you the opportunity to ask me some questions, things perhaps you want me to feature in an upcoming video, and then I can do that for you as well. So it makes it a little bit more interactive, I think, to do it this way. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Sorry for some of my ropey playing. I'll blame it on the lampshade that was in my face. But yeah, I'm going to get this up to the studio now. I'll spend a few days, perhaps a week or two, really getting to know it so I can do it more justice in my upcoming demonstrations. I think the next video will be a playing my favorite presets, my favorite live sets. So yeah, that's something that I'm looking forward to doing, and hopefully you'll enjoy watching that as well. Until then, thank you for watching this video. Thanks again to Yamaha for supporting me by sending over some awesome gear that I can check out. I'll see you all next time. Cheerio.